Hello, YouTube. Today we are back and back after like a month of uploading no content. With another podcast. Uh, I've been gone a while. I mean, I have been gone a couple months, but obviously I've been gone a real long while. Like I haven't even logged on the game in a while since like the last podcast maybe. So I'm gonna do a podcast which answers most of these questions. So I've brought on here Adam, who is the adjutant to the Grand Marshal. He's also a former head dev. We have Simon here, who is currently a developer, and he's also, I think, has been around since early sci-fi. And then we have Spartan, who everyone should know by now, who oversees the Legion, Consulman, and I think he's also, yeah, he's in the Inquisition area as well, so he's a inner core member by that definition. So everyone say hello.
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 All right. All right, you guys may begin.
So the first question we have here is: many believe that Richard is unfit and the succession will ultimately fail. What is your opinion on these claims?
Well, this is a common question that I answer time and time again. People forget about what I answered last time, but I guess I have a new answer than before, so I guess it's a fair question. Um, well, Richard has done really well. I mean, I've said this again before. Richard has led groups with my guidance, of course, and rallied over like 50 people. I think it was like last Korea. Yeah, Korea's the last group he did, but I guided it. Like I didn't even lead it. It was just me owning it, and he did all the work for it, and it was really active. Like I'd go down, there'd be 40 people in game. This occurred over the course of what, like 3 weeks or something, and so that was proof that this guy was competent. When I went on vacation during Octavia for like 2 weeks during like Christmas time, he did the same thing. He kept the group active. He excelled and demoted people that were incompetent. He promoted those who were competent, and he's a good division leader. So far he's been really independent, and so I don't think that he could so easily just fall apart after proving himself loyal and dedicated these past couple of months. Not to mention that I have been inactive for the past 3 months. I've been busy with other things in the real world, and so Richard has been kind of the one in charge doing all of the work while I've been gone. And again, he's been rallying 70 people all by himself. He's been doing all of this work all by himself and helping maintain everything while I'm gone. Obviously, the group isn't that active as it was back in December when we had Over to Octavia, but that's not his fault. That's because of development. Development has been taking a very long time to finish up, and once that's done, it'll go back to normal. So I don't think that's Richard to blame. I think that's the development team, but they're doing really well right now, so that will be fixed very shortly. In regards to the future, I don't think he's gonna fall apart. Obviously, Richard is competent. He's dedicated, and because of these dedications, he's gonna live on. And the ideology I've created since 2018 is going to secure this. The ideology is all about preserving victory. It's all about preserving the loyalty of the people so that we can continue on for years and years and years. Obviously, so long as people maintain those values, we will never fall. Therefore, if the people never fall, then Rich will never fall. And so, by that decree, I suppose, it will live on regardless. Even if Richard was half incompetent, I think it would still live on. Look at Sim, look at Archimedes, look at any past successor prior to Richard when I had left the platform. They were beyond incompetent, and yet their legacy still lived on under their leadership. And Richard is obviously not incompetent, he's competent, and he's the new successor. So essentially, it'll be a lot better off than last time when I did take a break in 2019, that is.
Oh, well, does Spartan have anything else to add on that question?
I don't think I do. It was
Okay, so
answered pretty well. Yeah.
the next one is, by now, the majority of people are aware of your retirement. Although
Yeah,
many of them are still wondering the exact time and the reason for this retirement. Could you fill us in on the details?
sure, sure. I mean, obviously, I'm 18 years old. I turned 19 in August. I think that it's been a while I've been on the platform. I've been playing this game since I was 12 years old, and ultimately, I can't play this game forever. There will come a time when I have to retire, and I've decided that that time is now. That time is coming up this July. And so I don't know the exact day, um, but it is coming up. It could be next week. It could be 5 weeks from now. It's coming up, and it will be sooner than expected. But the reason why is really because this game has really just gotten boring for me, rather. And I think it's because I've just been so over it. I've been playing this game for 6 years, and I think anyone that's played a game for longer than that happens to get bored of it. It's like eating a food. You eat the same food every day, you'll get bored of it. You get sick of it, right? And I think that's kind of where the point was during World War II Octavia, was when I had really done everything. I mean, the whole goal I had the entire time was to create a supergroup, rally hundreds of people, declare total war on my enemies, and then win. I already did that during World War II Octavia. I already did it during Korea. Essentially, the same thing I've done before is happening again, henceforth on board. Secondly, that's not the main reason. The main reason why I'm retiring is because of real life. I've been terribly, terribly busy with real life affairs, and I just cannot happen to be active in the game anymore, and that affects the activity. I mean, I've been inactive these past 3 months, and it has severely affected a lot of people's morale. I remember when Oswald said that when it was like the second day of vacation, he was like the soul of the Richters people was like invisible. Like he said it was there, but he said that he could tell like right after I had gone in this like temporary break, um, that the soul of the Richters were like missing. There was no figurehead there to guide the people or whatever he was trying to tell me. And so obviously this has had a severe effect, but on a positive note, I think that everyone should be prepared for when I do retire, and this is what it is. I'm preparing everyone for that retirement, but obviously I've just grown busy, and the third reason is because I can't play this game forever. I can't really. Obviously, I have real life things to do, and I don't want to spend the next 20 years like Lewis or Nerfer playing Roblox in my free time. I might have free time 5 years down the road to play Roblox, but that won't change a thing. Even if I had the time to play this game, even if I um lost that boredom, I would still not play the game. Why? Because it's a game. It's a game that I utilized to spend time LARPing as politicians and leading a people over 6 years. Now, does that mean that I could care less about the legacy? No. Does that mean I care less about the future? Yes. So I care about the reputation of the Richters, and I care about what happened in the past because legacy took 6 years to build up. But whatever happens down the road, I don't care as much so long as my history and this what I've created is maintained. And even if that failed, I would still retire, or I would still remain in retirement, because obviously, again, it's just not worth it. That's really because I've been so busy with real life, and real life issues have become more relevant than Lego issues. Rather, to put things in perspective, I've been really active in politics, and if I had the option between playing a game and leading entire war groups as opposed to leading entire movements in the real world, I would probably choose the real world because there is more productive value in that other than Roblox. So essentially, I have two options of interest, and I'm choosing the interest that is in real life and not online. And again, even if that real life interest failed on me, I still wouldn't return because Roblox is just a distraction. Or rather, it was more of a training field for me in my future. And by training field, I mean that I've learned so much from the platform, but it isn't something that I would keep doing for the rest of my life. Sitting on a PC for 20 years playing a game that will make a little difference in my life is a waste of time, in all honesty. Even if I made money off the game, it would still be little productive value. I'd be making money and sitting on the PC every day doing the same thing. I'd have barely a life, and I doubt I'd make much profit anyway if I chose that. I think I'd make like a couple $1,000 a month, which really wouldn't be that much if I really tried. So that's kind of the whole plan. That's kind of all why. At the end of the day, I mean, I think everyone saw it coming eventually. I hinted at it since Korea. Back since Korea, I've been hinting that I was going to retire eventually and permanently. And I've done it before back in 2019, as I just said. I did try to retire before, but it was more of a break. Because I remember over time, like on the first day, yeah, at first I said, oh, I'm going to retire. And then the day I retired, I said I might come back later on. And then 1 week later, I said that it was a breakdown to retirement. I come back, next year. And then it just became more and more obvious that I would return. But after I returned, I told everyone that the next time that I leave would be permanent. And I made guarantees, I made promises, so there would never be a second coming of Alexander. It would totally be, I'd be gone permanently because, again, I don't want to be the guy like Lewis or Nerfer that stays on till their late 20s, still playing this game, wasting their time instead of pursuing their real life, I suppose. So,
Yeah, that's understandable. We do have some questions about like expanding on that about what you will do in your retirement, but we'll leave that for later. So it's Simon's go to ask a question
All
now.
right. Yeah, so you've been on a break for quite a while now, a few months even. During this break, what have you been focusing on?
Uh, Now I don't want to dive too much in my personal life. Again and again, I say this. I want to keep that kind of separate. But what I will say is, the career I'm going for is politics, but more specifically, what I'm doing within that field for the time is like cybersecurity work. And so I've been doing these like practical exams day and day and day. Today I actually took my exam, and I've yet to get the results back. But so for the past 3 months, I've been studying, doing practical exams. I've been prepping. I've been doing coursework. I've just been studying for those, and though that's not really my main career, it's a good way to make money. Cybersecurity is a good way to make money. It's a good way to kind of have a position that makes you seem important, so to speak. So when I go somewhere, like if I go to work for like I don't know the GOP, and I say, "Oh, I do cybersecurity," they'll freak out and say, "Oh my God, you can protect our databases so that the left doesn't take our information." And so it's a way to get my foot in the door and become relevant enough to be relied on, kind of like the development team. Developers in this day and age are very they're assets. Cybersecurity is a asset work where it's hard to fire you for being ridiculous or whatever you want to call it. I could literally walk in as a security agent and say whatever I want, and they wouldn't care because I do all this work, right? And so it's a good workplace, but it wouldn't be something I pursue for the rest of my life. It'd be something I do for the first 5 or so years, and then after my foot is in the door, after I've got that position, then I would work more towards activism and doing what I want to do in the real world. So that's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I've been working out. I actually just recently quit cardio because cardio has been lowering my muscle strength. Because when you jog or whatever, you take weight off your body and whatnot. So I actually quit cardio, and I've been just going full on gym lord. And I know last year I said that I wouldn't go gym lord because it's like I don't know. I thought it was kind of a like being a gym so was kind of a weird thing, but in all honesty, I just think why not? I mean, working out is all about willpower and strength. It's all about pursuing strength and undergoing extreme struggle and extreme hardship, and as a result of that extreme hardship, you gain more muscle. And so it's kind of right up my alley. I'm always about the struggle. I'm always about toiling and undergoing hardship. And I guess working out is it's the perfect fit for undergoing that and reaping benefits foregoing um, those extreme measures, I suppose. And so aside from studying and working out, um, I guess I've been hanging out with some friends. I went to a few parties, and I haven't gone to parties in a while because I kind of want to stay away from the degeneracy life, the Weimar lifestyle, the Weimar Republic lifestyle. But I've honestly been kind of bored. Um, and aside from real life, I haven't worked on the legacy like every day. I think every day I put in like 5,000 words per day into the legacy to make sure that every detail and every part is done. And speaking of the legacy, it's going to be done pretty soon here. So that's kind of what I've been doing on my break. Um, I didn't log on any games for like a month. I think it was like from April to May. I did not play one single video game, which is like the most I've done in like 15 years. So that was an interesting uh, point in my life. Recently, I've been playing 7 Days to Die and Bannerlord and Warband and sometimes Tower of Hell on Roblox. But for the longest period, I was just totally focused on myself, talking to girls, the usual shit. So that went really well. Though I'll admit the studying was really boring. I hated going on, doing another exam or another exam. It was the most tedious work that I had really ever done, and it was a really lonely, depressing time in my life, especially following the betrayal of Polish and Viney back in April. Though he's returned recently, um, having to deal with the betrayal of my most closest loyalist and deal with all these things in the real world was a real pressure on me, I suppose. So that's what I've been doing. Everyone die?
Martin, are you there?
Yeah. The next question we have is about the map. You've been talking about it and how it's developing and stuff. What kind of changes are we expected to see in the upcoming map?
So the last map, the whole, how do I put this? So the first map I had for Octavia Sci-Fi was essentially this like wasteland with a small city, and it was supposed to be like Fallout, where you'd have settlements that you'd build off of, you'd craft vehicles, and the reason why, because a lot of developers said that it wouldn't go very far, and I said, well, we have no choice. And the reason why I stuck with the map was because we worked like 3 months. No, actually, we worked 4 months on the map, and I'm like, well, if we just disband the map we spent 4 months on, it would be a total waste of time. I said, why would we spend 4 months on a map and then leave it out and destroy it to work on a whole new map? And that's why we utilized that map. So technically, we didn't really launch officially. And so while that all went down, we had the devs work on a second map, and that's been taking another 3 months. So that started in like late May. Well, actually, I don't even know when that started. That started whenever it started, and that's been going for a while. And then for the longest time, that map had no work being done on it for like 2 weeks until recently. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, or 1 week ago, Adam found a developer that was willing to work on it hardcore. We paid him like 7,000. He's gotten like 20% of the map done already. Maybe more, maybe less. I really don't know. But the new map is supposed to be a city map that has like a majority. So the first map was like a wasteland. This map was supposed to be, or rather, the upcoming map is supposed to be more of a city map, where there's going to be a wasteland, but the wasteland is going to be kind of small, and it's going to be kind of like an area that's like full of like aliens and mutants and like raiders, and just it's going to be a small area. So the new map is going to be kind of like any city map we've ever done. Like you look at Pyongyang, you look at Paris, you look at London V2. It's going to be kind of like those maps, except it's going to be sci-fi, and except it's going to be, there's going to be a wasteland, there's going to be crafting, there's going to be survival. All those elements are going to remain in the game. It's just not going to be as prominent because we've discovered that wasteland games are fun. Okay, crafting is fun. All these elements are fun aspects that keep people engaged. But for a war group, when people play my games because they like the war aspect, it seems that a wasteland is ineffective for that demographic. And so that's why city maps are more popular and more active than wasteland maps, because everyone that plays my games, they don't play it to experience a Fallout 4 universe, then they'd play Fallout 4. They don't play them to experience a survival game, then they play 7 Days to Die or DayZ or whatever. They play them to experience a war simulator, henceforth why a game that is based around military discipline in cities and whatever the previous games were is more popular than a wasteland game, despite the fact that the wasteland game would be filled with crafting and spaceships and exploration and all these elements. Not to mention those elements were also disregarded by the scripters. The scripters completely ruined those aspects by making them very shitty. They could have done 10 times better on those elements, and they effed me over. I paid a guy 10,000 for his scripting system, and all I got was you could craft one gun, one car, and the car didn't even work once you crafted it, and then a bunch of tools that were only useful for making or acquiring more resources. So effectively, that was a whole waste of money and time. The new map is going to be a city map. It's going to have a wasteland aspect. So similar to, it's going to be a combination of, if I could relate to any map we've done before, it'd be probably similar to like Paris. Except imagine there's like a small like rural area that's like 100 studs by 100 studs, which is like a wasteland, and that's where you do all like the building. That's where you'd find all the aliens. But the main attraction would be the city. So you'd still have the economy, you'd still have factories and workers and whatnot. But on rare occasion, like if you got bored of the city, you'd go out and you'd explore the wasteland or rather the smaller wasteland, and you'd attack aliens or they'd attack you. And there's gonna be definitely a lot more elements than there was at Richteria. There's going to be a lot more crafting elements, a lot more alien elements, a lot more structures you can craft and whatnot. So those are going to still be in the game. They just won't be highlighted like they were in Materia. And I think that will be a better addition than Materia. Not to mention, um, with the advertisements and the money we have coming in, it will all blend in really well.
That sounds good and sounds really fun too. The next question is about Richard again.
Oh yeah, it's well, following the last question on post-retirement Octavia, do you believe Richard has the potential to do better than you in his succession?
Well, I have said in the past that the period ahead of me will be superior to the period that we are in currently, and before that even. And so that could be during Richard's succession, that could be after Richard's succession rather. It could be any time after me. But do I believe that Richard will be better, or rather do better than me? Well, that's up to him. Richard definitely has the skill and competency to become who I am today, but that will take time, that will take effort, and that will take a lot of devotion to the projects like I had. And he will definitely have to try a lot harder than me to beat that. And to beat my devotion, to beat my legacy, to beat all that I've done, not in the name of his own vanity, but just to improve the dynasty. Um, that would be really, really hard to do, simply because it's not like you can spawn in Alexanders left and right. And that's not to say that out of ego. It's hard to find someone that is like someone else. You cannot find someone and clone them. If I could, I do that right now. I would clone hundreds of loyalists just like Richard. But obviously, I can't do that because that's just simply impossible. And so, to find someone not just as good as me, but better than me in this time period, especially when I've beaten basically every other leader in the community, like Nerfer, Lavo, Lewis at one point during ATRFN, name anyone, I've beat them before in wars and battles. You'd have to find someone better than all of them to beat me. And so far, I've found almost nobody like that. Again, not out of ego do I say that, that's just out of pure fact. There has been nobody to prove themselves like that, including Richard. Again, could he be like me? Could he do better than me? Yes. Have I seen that potential recently? Obviously not, and I probably won't even after I leave. I probably will never find out if that happens. However, I do believe that there will come periods and there will come times that are better than right now. I do believe there will come a time when the Richterians will occupy the majority of the genre, when the hatred that we've undergone these past few years will be completely gone. And it will be the total opposite, where we'll be loved by almost everyone, and we will be the, like, dominators of the genres. I do believe that will come at a time in the future. I also believe that there will come a time when we have groups as big as, I don't know, IREF or Alemania in regards to hundreds of people on the game every day, tens of thousands of members, full-blown branches and divisions that are active every day. That type of supergroup is inevitable. It will come eventually, just not right now. We have the power, we have the manpower, we have everything to do it. It's just a matter of organizing it and utilizing that potential energy into that project. I mean, look at Orchard Octavia, look at Korea, look at anything we've done in the past prior to this galactic empire. I mean, even America was rallying, or not rallying, but I guess producing like 90 people on the first day was launched. And Korea under Richard was producing 50 to 60 people. And Galactic Octavia in the first week and a half was producing like 70 people, 60 people. So we have the potential to do this with any group. I think it's just a matter of time. Once you've got the right leaders, once you've got the right amount of money, the right people in positions, then that time will come and it will last years. So I definitely believe that it could happen under Richard, but it definitely won't happen immediately. It won't happen immediately after he takes power. Again, it will all take time and effort, and that is entirely up to Richard. If Richard pushes himself and puts forth that effort, then it will happen. But if Richard fails to do any of those things, then it will not happen in his succession. Or maybe it will just a long time after he becomes the leader, because he will have to develop eventually a skill of devotion to what he does. And so,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
we'll
it's
see.
almost incomparable
Yeah,
because you created the dynasty whilst he's like leading it into an even greater era. So
Yeah,
neither of you will do better than the other, as you kind of have different jobs, I think. But
and that is true as well. I mean, I've already done most of the work. If Richard rallies 100 people after I've rallied 90 people, it wouldn't make much of a difference because that's a 10 difference. That's 10 people in difference. He would have to double that. And so technically he could, in theory, if he did make a group and it did do better by a small margin, technically, even though it's doing better than any of my previous groups, um, in theory, I could have done the same thing. I could have also improved during the next year and done the same thing. And so even if he did somehow make a better group, um, it would have to be like 3 times better than anything I've ever done. So you'd have to double the rallies, double the activity, and double everything else I've ever done. And once you've doubled all of that, then realistically you could say that he's a much better leader or whatever than me. But I doubt that will ever happen because everyone is so focused on carrying a legacy and carrying my traditions that I don't think there will ever come a time when there will be a leader that is quote unquote better than me. And if it ever does come, then that will be pretty weird. And it will be especially weird because, I mean, yeah, you're supposed to remain loyal to that person, but it would be kind of awkward to become the new successor. Let's say you're like the 10th successor, and you're like, oh, I'm better than Alexander and whatever else, and even though he did all these great things, I did all these other great things, and it's like, how would you respond to that? Would there be a civil war? Would there be a revolution to restore the Alexanderists that are loyal to me and not that person? It really draws attention, but I doubt that will ever happen because to be a successor that doesn't like me or rather thinks he's better than me after reading everything about me and being loyal to me or knowing about me. I mean, it's just the system we have for ensuring that everyone is loyal is so, I wouldn't say extreme, but so competent that it just wouldn't make any sense. I mean, someone could do that in theory. It would just have no productive value to stand up and say you're better than me after being chosen to be the next successor and you're like the 10th one in line or whatever. I mean, it would almost be suicidal. You'd almost be throwing away your potential to lead the Richterian dynasty because obviously if you did that, you'd be hated by everyone. At least in theory. I'd assume 10 years down the road, assuming that the next person in line, if there would be someone like that, it would just be really stupid. It'd be like, I don't know, it'd be the equivalent of someone like I don't know, let's say that Trump resigns, right? Let's say that the successor of him becomes the new Trump or whatever. Let's say he says he's better than Trump and that Trump is this and that. He'd lose his entire following because everyone that's loyal to Trump, that's loyal to this new guy, is more loyal to Trump, right? Same thing with me. I don't think there will ever come a time when Richterists are not loyal to me or that they think that there's a better period than I could ever create. Um, but that's kind of my opinion on it.
yeah, I can completely agree. So I'll pass this on to Spartan again. Oh wait, no, Simon actually.
Yeah. Some people have been wondering if the thousands of Robux being invested into ads for Octavia is true, or are we not putting as much Robux into ads as we are told?
Well, no ads have been going in because there's no activity. Obviously, I'm not going to run 10,000 in ads. There's nobody in the game. That's a waste of money. Though, when we launch the group, there will be ads put into the game, and obviously do have the money. I obviously have shown my money before, and there's money in the group itself. There's like, what, 60,000 in the group right now. I have like almost 300k on me. Bug himself has 80,000 on, or no, he has like 300,000, was going to invest 80,000 down the road. It's quite obvious that I have the money. It's not really a matter, it's not rather a matter of we don't have the money. It's a matter of reserving it for when the time comes. So the answer is yes, I do have the money. Yes, we are going to invest it into the group, but that's down the road. That's not right now. That's not when there's 10 people on Materia. That's going to happen when the new map launches. Obviously, me and Bug spoke about it because I don't want to keep spending money on the group when I have all these investors that want to put forward like 100,000 Robux, right? I spoke to Bug Richterian about it, who's my investor, and he said that when we launch, he'll launch like 80,000 Robux, which is a lot of Robux. So we definitely have the money. and we definitely are going to put it to use. We just want to utilize it for when the time is right. When we launch a new game, there's 100 people logged on, being active, doing their thing. Okay, obviously I'm going to have ads launched, and it's all going to go really well. Why would I spend 80,000 when there's no activity as opposed to when there's full activity? You get the point. So, those who are curious about it or even doubt, I don't know why someone would even doubt me having the money. You know, I had clearly we have money. The money didn't just disappear. You'd have to do some serious math and miscalculate to figure out if we didn't have the money or not. So that's kind of a silly question, but no, it's not gonna be no. No, I understand. I'm not gonna crowd. I'm not the CNN media. We're not gonna censor people. If people were curious of the question or if there's no money, then they can ask us all they want. They're just gonna get roasted. If someone asks a bad question, I'm just gonna roast them publicly and continue on. So, joking. I'm joking, of course. No one's gonna get roasted yet. Not yet. Um, of course, of course. But on a more lighthearted, serious note, no, I don't think people doubt that there's no money. I think people are just confused. Like, why is there no ads being launched? Why is there, nobody? Why is there only 20 people on Richters? It's like, well, Richters is a shitty map that we have to utilize, and development is taking a long time. And if I spend 10,000, then no one's gonna join because the game is kind of dead, right? So, tactics. It's all about tactics, guys. You gotta tactically put your money to use, or else it's gonna be all wasted. So. That's kind of the plan with that. I did launch some ads the other day for like 1,000 Robux, and I think we gained like 9,000 members or something. I'm like, what the frick? Like, so Viking Law and his inflation is a real pain in the ass, though. Back in the day, you could launch like 5,000 to get like 200 members, and now if you launch 5,000, you get like 50 members. It's really stupid. I have to launch like 80,000 just to get like 100 people in game that are fresh people. Like, it's super gay that Viking Law has to take over the entire platform with his advertisements and his members and his groups. Though my intel reports that he is slowly collapsing and he's slowly losing activity and profits. I don't know if that's true. It might just be a cope because people really want me to succeed or something. So I don't know. Hopefully that inflation ends and then we can go back to launching 20,000 every weekend. But if not, it's going to be a real struggle. It's going to be a real struggle because I can't get 80,000 out of my ass. 80,000 is a lot of money. And I don't make that in a day or a week or even in a month. That takes, well, if I try, I can get that in a month. But that's a lot of money that I'm going to be spending on ads, especially for Bug. And if the inflation continues, that's going to be a real problem for the future. It's not going to stop us completely. We'll get over it. We get past anything. But it will be a real obstacle in our path if we do not take care of that issue immediately, obviously.
All right. Next question is going to be asked by Spartan.
So we all know how Vianney has come back and stuff. How is he gonna impact the future with his return, as he's a longtime veteran with the Richters?
Well, it was kind of awkward letting him back in because I know recently I went on this rant about the new, because, well, these three people that I really don't like, I'll name them Materian, Alberto, these mentally ill people are coming into the dynasty and they're being exiled for treason, right? And I'm not going to name anyone or go into grave detail, but I was kind of angry that they were let back in because it's not like it's a freaking hotel. You don't kick someone out and let them back in a day later, and that's not what they were doing, though. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus and name anyone or go into that. I just didn't like they were given like a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chance, whatever, and they came back because they obviously, people that repetitively commit treason are going to do it again and again and again. People that don't learn from their mistakes are never going to learn from their mistakes. It's really that simple. It's a simple thing that is not complicated to understand. And those two individuals are like that. They will never come to an understanding of Richterism or their loyalty because they are, simply put, mentally ill. Their brain does not let them maintain their emotions and how they feel towards certain things, and they are forced to change because of their impulsive emotional reactions. They are inchangeable, and as a result, they cannot be let in. Because if they are, it will make other people think that anyone can be let back in again, and it'll make treason look like a smaller ordeal. And second of all, um, it doesn't change anything. It's just they're just going to commit the same issues, make the same problems over and over again, until eventually they get trusted with information, or eventually they become a high rank, and then when they commit treason for the 100th time, they do some serious damage. And so people like them, I went on this rant about it, and people understood, like, okay, don't let in these traitors. Well, around the same time that was going on, I was also doing concluding my investigation into Viney, because for a while we discussed bringing Viney back, and this even happened the day after the trial. We said we should bring him back because Polish was very toxic towards me, and Viney was very like, I want to come back, but I know I can't. I really miss the Richters, and he was doing this on a repetitive basis, and we were like, well, I mean, you associate with these traitors, so it's like we don't want to bring you back because we don't really trust you. At the same time, like, obviously, if you were an actual traitor, then you wouldn't be so obsessed with wanting to come back and wanting to remain loyal or whatever. And so we put him through these trials where we had him spy on Nazan. That's why he became a Curzius, by the way. Made him spy on the Solums, made him spy on the Alamanians, and he went through all these trials for like a couple months. And then I got word from Intel, within the Intel, if that makes any sense, triple agents, that Vianney was collecting intel for Polish and Anasius. And they said that he was a double agent for them and pretending to be loyal to gather more information. But the evidence for this was very weird. Like, they couldn't provide screenshots. It was all in a voice call, or if they took any video recordings, then they'd be blamed for it. And they also didn't like Viney very much. And so I thought they were kind of biased. They were kind of weird about it. And so, but I was kind of paranoid about Viney and Polish as well, because, you know, it was just a weird time. And so I wasn't really sure what to believe. And so after a while, I just said, you know what, I can't be bothered with letting him back because we don't know. I mean, if this guy really is trying to lie that he's loyal and he's just trying to sabotage us out of his own spite, then that won't look good. And so I dismissed it, and I kind of just set him off. And recently I did an investigation myself where I went back into each recording. I looked at each chat log. I looked at each video of the trial. And I studied Vianney because I was just bored, and I had this weird feeling that Vianney wasn't actually disloyal. So I went back and looked at everything and said, you know what? I think he really is loyal, and I think he really didn't mean any of the shit he did with Polish and Dante back in the day. In fact, the stuff he did do was very minor. The only thing that he admitted to doing was critiquing my leadership, but he still, like, in a weird way, he was loyal to me, but he didn't like my leadership decisions at the time, if that makes any sense. And that was really the only thing we had on him. Polish threw him under the bus, said that he was the gatekeeper, that he was this guy that held all this dirt on me, that he had a crypto vault, that he was going to destroy my life, quote unquote, destroy my entire life. And so when I heard all this shit from Polish, and he said this in private, didn't say this to me, he said this in private to Dante and Bug, back when Bug was spying on them for me. And so that's why I believed it. If Polish said that to me, I would have said, oh, he's lying to me, and tried to get Vianney down with him. But if he says it in private to try and, I don't know, do whatever he's trying to do, I thought that it was all truthful and legit, but apparently not. So I reached out, I had someone reach out to Vianney, and they talked for a bit, and Viney was very friendly. He was still the same guy he was a month or two ago. Again, very apologetic, very desperate to come back. Not desperate, but very interested in coming back and returning. And then I spoke to him, and I said, hey, long time no see. I spoke to him for a bit. It went very well. We talked about the past and Polish, and he admitted that Polish basically threw him under the bus, that Polish used him and basically threw him away after they were done. He said that literally after the trial, that after they were exiled, that Polish basically ghosted him, that he basically didn't want anything to do with Vianney, and that he only said what he said to bring Vianney down with him, because Polish had an ego. Even Vianney admitted that Polish had an ego the whole time, but he was deluded that he thought it was about attacking Oswald. He thought that originally the whole cause was about opposing Oswald. And even Polish said this, but with me, that he said the original cause was to oppose Oswald, but since I was so determined to defend Oswald, I got in the way. And Dante got in the way too. Dante was the one feeding them all this bullshit about how it was all my fault. And that's what got Polish to betray me, was his ego. His ego was being fed by Dante, saying how it was all me doing all the bad stuff, not Oswald, but it was all me, all me, all me. And eventually, since Dante, or rather because Polish trusted Dante, he fell for it. And because of Polish's ego, his downfall was inevitable. Viney, on the other hand, had little part. All Viney did was hang out with Dante and play games, and then talk with Polish about how my decision of making Oswald Grand Marshal, whatever, was a bad decision. That was all he really said or did, which was treachery. Okay, that wasn't he did in the wrong, but should he have remained in exile for it? No. Should he have been punished for it? Yes. But obviously, Viney is not the average defector traitor. He's not an Alberto. He's not a Maturian. He's not a Polish. He's not a Cody or an Oswald or a Beans. He is definitely a loyalist. I wouldn't say he's a diehard Richterist. And as you've all probably read in the announcement, he won't be a Richterist until he's read the full book. Once he's read the full legacy and he understands everything about everything I've done, then arguably you could call him a Richterist or whatever you want to call him. But for now, I would just say he's a loyalist. He's a loyalist of mine, and he definitely wouldn't do anything to harm me, as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I kind of brought him back. Kind of a long answer. I still have more to say, obviously. How it's going to impact the future is I was kind of afraid that people would see this as, oh, Viney is back, and Viney was this great traitor that got almost liquidated. And just to clarify, Polish and Viney weren't ever liquidated. They were just exiled for treason. If they were liquidated, then there would be a more serious, it would be more like, oh my god, we can't bring him back because he's liquidated, and we destroyed all this, and that. They were both exiled, and they weren't liquidated, and so that's why it wasn't as serious that they were brought back. It wasn't the biggest deal in the world, as opposed to Maturian and Alberto, who have been liquidated, probably on 2 occasions. I really don't know. But once you're liquidated, you're gone forever. That should be how it should be. Once you're liquidated, you're always gone, no matter what. No exceptions. When you're gone, you're gone. You're destroyed. Every group you're in that's loyal to us, you're gone from. That's the policy we have for liquidations. That's how it's always going to be. And you cannot change that. Anyways, so I was kind of afraid that people would see this as like kind of a weakness, that he was back, that, we have to preserve it, that we need to maintain the 4 pillars again. In reality, that wasn't the case. Everyone was like, oh, he was back. Very positive reactions to it. People were kind of curious where he would be, but I think he's going to be kind of like an elder. He's going to be kind of like that one old man. It's like the one meme where it's like the Russian veteran from World War II that sits on the bench with his unit, except his entire unit is dead. And he's going to be the one sitting there, with all the other veterans dead and washed away. And he's going to be the kind of guy that tell all the stories of days back in the day. Like, back in my day, the 80-year-old grandpa, the 80-year-old senior elder that knows about the good old days, the times of Alexander. He's going to be kind of like that, in my opinion. I think it's going to last maybe a pretty long while. I don't really know. I can't really predict Viney when he's going to retire. He's trying to retire for the past 2 years, and he never could find the actual time to actually retire. So he's always been kind of wishy-washy in that regard. So I can't really say what he will be in the future, but I do know for a fact he will be the old man that will say, back in my day, back when Alexander was the leader, this, and that. He has apologized for his comments on the new generations. In fact, he's admitted now the new generations are, in fact, true Richterists. They are, in fact, the true generation as opposed to the old generation. So he has changed a bit. He has become a better person in that regard. That's all I have to say on him.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the next question will be said by Adam.
Well, will you ever return to Roblox again, do you think? And if so, what will you do? Will you be involved as you once were?
No.
Okay, so should we just...
No.
Is
I'm
there
not
more?
going to ever return. No. I am leaving this platform, and I am never returning. Though, I will make an exception but it won't be an exception of return. It will be like, so I'll go into this later down the road, but for now, I'll just say that I will never be on the website. I'll never be in a Roblox game again, and I will never actively be in a Roblox Discord server. That includes the Richter network, that includes Octavia, that includes every other platform server unless it's a gaming server, but includes Roblox, if that makes any sense. Or a Hangout server. And that depends on if it's a Hangout server and it's full of Roblox people, then I might not hang around in there for long. If it's a Hangout server and Roblox is mentioned on occasion, not all the time, I might be in there. It really depends. And so when I say there might be a small exception, that will depend on a lot of factors, and it won't mean returning to the Roblox website. That will never, ever, ever be an exception. Ever. My account will remain dead, and the only person that will log in on it will be those who I really trust. And they will only log on my main account to do things like gather groups or funds or whatever. But you will never see my account in a Roblox game again after I retire. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Um,
So
so
yeah,
that's kind of
I-
what I have going on there.
yeah, I think Simon has a question to ask right now, so I'll leave that on
Yeah.
to him.
So what are your plans once you leave Roblox? It has often been said that you manage to juggle Roblox and real life, but many people are curious of what you will be doing.
Well, I've kind of already gone into my real life, but I will just say that how I've managed to juggle it, simply put, I just don't play Roblox. That's how I manage real life. I don't ever, I mean, I quit playing video games for an entire month and a half because I was so focused on real life. So, I mean, literally all I did was say, hey, Richard, do you want to lead Octavia while I'm gone for a month and a half? Sure, okay. That's how I juggle Roblox in real life, essentially. I just put people in charge and do whatever I want. And someone told me the other day, it's like, well, why don't you do it for the rest of your life? I said, well, because Roblox is an addiction, and it's also a game that the more you give into the temptation, the more invested you are. Also, because of the fact that there's always some big ass setback that causes an entire debacle that I have to come in and resolve. Like when Oswald left, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Oswald left. What do we do?" And or the Polish finance situation, or any other problem on this platform that exists has always been brought to my attention. Like, "Oh my God, my leader, there's been an AA attack," and I'm like, "Oh, for the love of God, dude! I'm trying to eat dinner. I'm trying to do something with my family. Hell, I could be on the road. I think I was getting in my car to go get some food, and then I got like a call on Snapchat, and immediately I was forced to go back into my house, forced to take off my jacket, forced to log back on, and like fix an admin attack or something. Or it's like every time I try to do something in the real world, I always get like this emergency phone call. We need you right now. There's an entire crisis going on. If you don't do anything, we're gonna die. It's all gonna fall apart. It's like how are you guys gonna survive when I'm not even here anymore? Like how are you gonna resolve this when I'm not even around and another crisis happens where I can't go and make another big speech to moralize everyone and make sure everything's okay? Like it's super annoying, and I can promise you that if I remain on the platform, even if I juggled my real life and online lifestyle, uh, that wouldn't last very long. It eventually get to the point where shit would go down so much that I would be stressed out. I'd be on like an airplane to freaking Hawaii, and I'd be on the beaches shaking of anxiety because I'd feel like the group back home would be like in bursting in flames. Like, you know, I'll be on the beaches and I'll look at my phone and I'll just check the audit logs and I'll just see bam, 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 server destroyed. I'm like, oh no. And I'll be spending the rest of my vacation just fixing admin attacks, you know? I really don't want to deal with that while I'm trying to relax and focus on real life and enjoy my time. Like, dude, I'd rather deal with an abusive ex than this legal platform at this point. Dare I say that? Because I mean, at least with someone that I don't like, you can at least block them, and you don't have to worry about the house burning down. But when it comes to this group, when it comes to Roblox, it's a game that you have to pursue and commit to on a consistent basis. If you leave this game alone for more than a week, I can guarantee you there is going to be a crisis that will occur whether it's your division or whether it's an exterior force that will occur, and if you're not there to do anything about it, it will just be like gasoline to a fire. It will just burst into flames, and you know, I won't lie that though I am focused on real life, that I am consistently checking Discord, and I am consistently checking and making sure that things are running smoothly while I'm gone. I won't lie, like when I was ah, sorry about that. When I was, I don't know if I was like at school or at tech, or I was at this event, and sorry, I just opened my container and my mints all just went flying out onto the floor. Okay. Back on topic, during my graduation, I remember I was like checking my phone constantly because um we got these threats that on the day of my graduation that there'd be this massive admin attack, there'd be a destruction, it'd be total war, and I was like checking constantly, making sure that things weren't under attack. Meanwhile, all my friends were like, chilling and trying to like talk, and I was just busy on my phone trying to make sure that things weren't going to be admin attacked. And so, eventually I was able to get over it. I think I eventually just put the phone down and said, you know what, if my group gets destroyed today, whatever, I'll move on. I'm not going to cry over it. So I eventually just coped and said, whatever happens, happens. I can't do anything about it. And so that's why I wanted to get off the platform. It's like a burden that I'm carrying, and it's a burden that I'm tired of carrying throughout the majority of my life. It's honestly, I can't do anything in my life without worrying about some online game and some database being destroyed by some retarded defecting officer that doesn't like me. Like, boohoo, someone hates me, so they want to destroy a database of ranked officers and soldiers so they can, I don't know, I guess make it harder for me. So that's kind of been my juggling. Um, Though I'll be honest, it's not hard to multitask on Roblox in the school. Again, if I really wanted to, down the road, I could balance Roblox and real life. I could have a job, work, date a girl for all I care. Actually, you know what? I don't think I could. I don't think I'd. I think she'd get very bored and lonely if I did that. No, no, no. I could. I mean, I could do a majority of things in real life and balance Roblox. But it's all about time management. There's people that I think are just addicted. They get addicted to the game. They spend 2 weeks playing Roblox and nothing else. And then they're failing their school. They're failing assignments. They're not studying. They're not doing homework. That's not the way to do it. That's why you can't balance Roblox. It's because you're addicted and you spend your entire week playing Roblox, and then you blame it on me and my group when in reality it's about time management. It's called spending 2 hours studying, spend 2 hours doing homework, and spend 3 hours the rest of your day doing whatever the hell you want. And you want to put one of those hours into Octavia, so be it. But people that say that they have no time at all every day, that they're so busy, they have no time ever to do anything at all. So busy, it's like you're retarded, dude. If all you have is like a freaking like I don't know, a test or something, like if you're spending more than 2 hours studying, like something is wrong with you. Like I don't know if you have low IQ or if you just have anxiety issues or and this is for high schoolers, but I'm not talking about college people or people going to like a high education school. I'm talking about middle and high school. If you're in high school and you're taking exams and tests and you're spurting out saying you have to study freaking 100 hours a week, like something's not right. I mean, at the very most, like study for 30 minutes and you're fine. You're going to pass the exam. You're going to pass the test. So it's all about time management. And if you're struggling to do that, then um, okay, maybe you do have to take a break from the game. But in my experience, since I've played this game and passed high school with like a 3.3 GPA, it wasn't hard to do. It really wasn't. I went to school, did my work, came home, spent 30 minutes on homework assignments, spent less than that studying because I had only like one test a month, two tests a month, whatever. So that take less than an hour a day. Like I literally was spending like 8 hours a day playing Roblox because I had all this free time. Nothing was going on in my life until my junior year when politics kind of took effect. And then that took like 4 less hours out of my day. 4 less hours. Now I have 4 hours a day playing Roblox. So, in my experience, I think people that say that they're too busy with real life, I'm not saying they're lying. I just really doubt that being the case. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, for many people are just addicted and they really can't conduct time management properly. They have to quit the game to actually focus on real life. I really don't know. Maybe everyone that plays Roblox has ADHD except me. I really don't know, nor do I really care. But in the recent day, I've had to take a break because I am, I do have jobs going on. I do have still schooling going on. I still have tests going on. I still have all these things going on in the middle of the summer. And with all that combined, I have a lot less time to do anything. And that's why I've had all these very random moments of being inactive or whatever. But that's kind of how I manage my time. What I'm gonna do after I leave Roblox, with the more free time I have, which will be whatever. Well, everyone knows what I'm gonna do after Roblox, so I'll just say the free time I have. I don't know. I'll probably get like a girlfriend or something. I'll probably get a girlfriend and focus on that. I'll focus on my life and family, and I don't know. I guess expanding the human race, the human race. Oh, didn't want to let that one slip. Everyone was probably like, "Oh my God, optics check, optics check." No, no. I was gonna say the woman race, of course. The woman. That's what the WH stood for. The woman. The womans. Nothing else. Nothing else. Definitely nothing else. You know. That's all I
Right.
have.
All right. Next question is going to be asked by Spartan.
So a couple of months ago, we know how Oswald betrayed and left.
Yes.
So, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I didn't really talk about that the last podcast for some reason. I don't know why. I remember I thought about it. I'm like, Oswald kind of left us. I'm like, what if I just, because it was more of a weird, like it was a situation where I didn't care that much. It was like Oswald was so irrelevant by the time he betrayed me that it was like, oh, whatever. Like the guy hadn't been Grand Marshal since like 2 months prior to his leave. So it was like he was irrelevant. Nobody really cared about him. And I felt like talking about it would just give him unneeded attention. But since you brought it up, I guess I'll talk about it now. So Oswald and I'll just say what happened. So Oswald was it was predicted by Polish and Vining that Oswald would eventually betray me, but it was more so after the fact I retired. And I even agree with this myself. I also thought, and I predicted this in Oswald's DMs, and Richters DMs, and everyone's DMs, that Oswald would eventually betray me. But I never thought he would do it before my retirement. I mean, you would think that Oswald would retire after I complete after I complete the legacy and after I say all these great things, like Oswald was this great Grand Marshal that was loyal and never betrayed people. Like you would think that Oswald would remain until after I say all this good shit about him, and then conduct his betrayal after I leave. Because after he leaves, then all I remember of Oswald is he was this good man that was loyal to me. But I don't know what went through his head. So in his DMs, I said, "Hey Oswald, I have a really bad feeling that you'll betray me, or rather, you'll betray the dynasty in the future. There might be a civil war, and I feel like that you'd be the guy to lead it." And he said, "I will never do that. You know very well that I would never do a civil war, dare against you, or even Richard." He said that'd be suicide. And I said, "Okay, I believe you, Oswald, but I just have a really bad feeling, and I know that energies have a really manipulative way of swaying people to do things against their will." I said, "I have a really bad feeling about this, and I think even if you told me this today, you would still do it." And he said, "No." And he said, "I'm saying this right now. I would not do that. I would never do that. I would obviously remain loyal, and I obviously would maintain myself, blah, 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 blah." And he was very sincere about it. And I said, "Okay, this is my last time of trying to get him to remain warned of this." I said, "One last time." I said, Oswald, that Peter denied Christ 3 times after Christ told Peter that he would deny him. And Peter denied this. Peter said, "No, I would never deny you, Christ. You obviously are the true Lord and Savior." And I said, "And if that happened, then this could happen as well." I said, "Oswald, be very, very careful. Do not let your mind become manipulated by negative energies or by your own ego or anything else like that. I said remain loyal, remain smart, and don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot and remain smart. And he said, of course, I won't betray you. I won't betray anyone. I'll remain loyal, and I'll make sure to not start a civil war or something like that. And the reason what led to the debacle was that we noticed that Oswald was manipulating Richard. He was trying to use Richard as like his puppet to do his bidding. And this was a huge issue that we needed to resolve. And so essentially my solution was that Oswald was very, very arrogant and he thought he was irreplaceable, just like Polish did. And I basically kind of annoyed with Oswald and said, well, you're not. And I put Von Wehr in his place. And he was not too happy about it, but he said, you know what, fine. You know, if you have better leaders, better marshals, then fine. I won't disagree with you. So essentially, that was his ordeal. And in his mind, he thought that Von Wehr was going to fail me and that we would basically bring Oswald back. That was basically his mindset. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if we prove to Oswald that he's not an asset, that we can replace him easily, then maybe he will behave better and he won't treat everyone like they're dog shit after he realizes that we could replace him at any time in history. What actually happened was that Oswald realized that Von Wehr and eventually Richard were competent and could replace him easily. And so Oswald's response was, well, you know, I want to return. And I'm like, well, if you behave, you can. And Oswald didn't behave. And so I basically I cracked down on him and said like, oh, this, and that. And I restricted him with these abilities. And eventually just got to a breaking point where eventually he just said, you know what? I'm done with you. You disrespect me. Blah, 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 blah. Lava was a better leader, and then he left. And then later on, he posted a video saying, which was a Vietnamese, or rather, it was a Viet Cong song that was like, the South will fall, the North will rise, or something like that. And in the song, it referenced civil war and restoring the power to the righteous people, and basically his message was that eventually he would start a civil war. And the prophecy that I told him would happen was that a civil war would happen, you would lead it, but you wouldn't exactly lead it until after I left. More specifically, you wouldn't lead it. Hold on. Sorry, someone just parked in my driveway and they're... I'm gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna answer the door. What the frick is going on, man? What is going on? Why? Okay, yeah, I'll just ignore them. Anyways, so after this whole ordeal went down, I'm like, holy shit. Oswald just literally told me that none of these things would happen. And they did. I prophesized all of this shit was gonna happen. And I tried, and I wasn't trying to force them to happen. I don't want Oswald to betray me. It happened all by itself. It happened by his own will. And it's really amusing to me that despite the fact that I predicted all of this, Oswald still went with all of it. And he did exactly the way that I thought it would happen. Except for the fact that he did it early on. That's the only thing I got wrong, was that he did it early on and not later on. That was a interesting thing he did. And my opinion of it was like, well, you know, I don't care anymore. I mean, Polish, he's gone. Viney, he's gone. Sam is gone. Who cares if Oswald is gone? It didn't really matter to me at that point. It's like anyone could have betrayed me, and I would have, aside from maybe like Richard, and it would have not affected me at all because it's the same thing. I was numbed out by it. I was at that point, I just didn't care anymore, and I was like, oh well, you know, if he's gonna betray me, then betray me. He will have no future, and he's gonna lose, because the prophecy also said that he would lose the Civil War and he would only have like a few defects. He'd have a small number of men that would follow him, and they would all regret it instantly upon challenging Richard. So, and again, I mean, he's going to. He even told someone that it was possible that he would later on, when he feels ready, later on meaning next year, when I also prophesized it would happen, that this would all occur. by the way, for those who are all about, because apparently these days, if you foresee something or have any visions, apparently it's blasphemy according to some Catholics. But I was reading the Bible the other day, and I talked to my mom about it as well, and apparently it says that you can have visions and you can have gifts. That gifts do exist, and there are gifts such as foretelling, vision seeing, prophesizing, and so on and so forth. So I found that very interesting. So those who think, oh, you can't prophesize, you're not. I know I'm not a prophet, but the gift of prophecy does exist. So I'm just saying that to all the Catholics out there that are bullshitting and saying that I'm apparently, because I did this before with Bug. I was doing all this other shit with other people, and they were saying how I'm like a schizophrenic and that I'm a false Christian because I prophesize, you know, or someone asked me if I manifest. I'm like, what the frick? I don't even know what that means. I don't manifest. I looked it up and I don't manifest at all. I don't know what that was all about with some people, but it's like, really? Like, it literally says that in the Bible that there are people that have gifts, and among those gifts is prophesizing. So I'm just saying that there's gonna be people out there gonna freak out and they're gonna call me whatever for these like predictions over this game, but they're happening. They're happening, okay? I'm saying that they're gonna happen and they're happening. So don't yell at me. Yell at my freaking predictions, I guess. So that's my opinion on Oswald and his betrayal. Nothing much has happened. I've had intel operations on him and everyone else that's betrayed me recently. It's boring. Honestly, I'm disappointed because of how pathetic it is. How pathetic all of it is. He literally made a group, or his friends did, and the geo got deleted within the next couple of weeks. Like, really? There's no action. I mean, dare I say this, but it's really boring how pathetic that his side of things are. Oh, okay, they left, I think. Oh no, they're still there. They're still parked.
No, we are still here.
No. The driver, the person that pulled in.
Oh,
The intruders are here. Like every time I do a podcast, there's always something that happens. Like this is the second time I've in the middle of a podcast, someone drove up or drove by and like did something weird. It's like they're trying to listen in. They're right now. They're on the walls of the house. They have their little instruments and they're listening in like the Stasi. They're listening to all the words, trying to gather all the little information about me. Oh, what do we have now? What do we got? Oh, he's talking about Oswald. You know, we have Oswald's little minions coming in, collecting little intel, their own little operations. But
so I think
Alright.
Spartan's done.
So, for me, it was really surprising too when Oswald left. For me, it just looked like it went by so fast. Like during NPRSR, he was kind of like a teacher to me, to be honest. He would used to, teach me about battalion commanding and commanding raids and stuff. And I was really surprised when he left. Like, I was really sad and I was like, I thought it was pathetic how he left and stuff. And
yeah,
it's really weird.
it was weird to me
Next,
as well.
yeah, really
Adam,
interesting
what's your
too.
opinion on it? I don't think you
Oh
knew him
well.
very well, but
I'd say, yeah. I mean, it's hard to like comprehend that someone who's been with you for so long would betray you. So like, yeah, I
I'm
guess
laughing
I
because
don't know.
they always say the same thing. Oh, he's been around for so long. How could he betray you? It's like, it's not the point. That's not the point. No, well, I mean, he's been around, I guess, since like TRI, but he wasn't active until Scotland. So technically, he got in like a year and a half worth of service. So that's not very, in my opinion, that's not very long. Year and a half is nothing compared to like
Yeah,
5 years. Okay, Polish was loyal from 2017 until April 2021. Okay, that's like almost 5 years. So that's a long time. Viney, he was loyal since like 2016, or no, he knew but he was loyal since TRE. I don't freaking know. 2017 for him as well. You get the point. Oswald was nothing. I think it's more the fact that he was so productive. Oswald was a productive worker. He was a teacher. He was an effective marshal that led and brought forth like hundreds of victories to Richterism. And the fact that he easily threw all of that away over him not having a rank in a group was just pathetic. and that's what Spartan is saying, is that he contributed so much, unlike Polish and the other defects, he contributed 10 times more, but yet still betrayed
Yeah.
me. And
Did you ever did it cross your mind that he would one day be your successor? Or did that never?
I always knew that Oswald was not an effective leader, but he was an effective general. So no, I never considered him for being my successor. I always looked at him as the marshals. So there, in Richterism, or at least in our traditions, there's always been the roles are there's the councilman, the inner circle, and amongst those two varieties, you've got the marshal and you've got the successor. The successor role was formerly known as the prince role or the Caesarist role. That was the successor role back in the day. And then the role that was third to that was the marshal role. And the marshal role was the role that basically led all the Richter's armies, he led all of the military related things. And those are basically the three roles of Richterism. You had the inner circle, and then you had the successor, or the prince, and then you had, which was the right hand man, and then you had the marshal, and then there was obviously as well me. Those were
Yeah.
always the three roles. The marshals were never successors. The marshals were always people that were really good at leading armies. In fact, there was never an obligation that they were to be fanatics. In fact, none of my marshals were fanatics. Oswald was close to being a fanatic, but arguably he wasn't really a fanatic. He was definitely loyal, at least we thought he was, or he behaved loyally. But never in his time did I think he would become a fanatic. Because if he was a fanatic, then he would have become a Richterian since day one. But he'd become a Richterian until the last month. So, though he was the most loyal of my marshals, and dare I say it, because he was also a traitor like all the other marshals, though he was probably the most loyal, excuse me, and also the most effective of all my marshals. So he was a very good marshal, a very good commander, a very good general. But when I put him in charge of Tier I kind of expected it to flop because Oswald does not have a good time schedule. He's very bad at he has no charisma. He has no will to follow him, and that's also why he was a good marshal. Because Beans had a charisma. His charisma was being funny. Beans was very good at making people laugh and making them agree with him by being funny and making fun of people like me. And that's how he obtained a following, was by subtly joking about me and saying oh, ha ha ha, the leader did this and that, and joking about it and making other people laugh. He obtained a small following. Oswald was always incapable of doing this. The only reason why Daniel follows him was because Daniel's his friend. Daniel and him are very similar. They know each other. It's like best friends. That's why Daniel was loyal to Oswald. Everyone else, they weren't really loyal to him. Cody only left and joined with Oswald because Cody had nowhere else to go. That's another topic for something else, though. I don't want to talk about Cody right now. Oswald, though, no, he will never. And that's why another reason why he will lose is because he cannot lead. He might be a good general. He might be able to win a raid or two, but Richard himself and his leadership will acquire much better generals, like yourself, actually. I mean, Adam, you kind of have the personality to become the next Marshal of Richterism. Though Richard kind of has the role, though he's also a successor, I think you could definitely fulfill that role yourself and even face him. But I've heard rumors that Dragonov and Stick are also in competition for the role of being the Marshal of Richterism. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Only time can tell until we see who
Yeah.
will face Oswald in 2022. The great battle, Oswald versus the Richard succession. Who will win? Who will lead the cause? Or maybe it won't be Oswald. Maybe it'll be someone else, because I did say that maybe it won't be, but there's a high chance that it will be Oswald that leads this so-called civil war. And there is a very high chance it will be. But it doesn't have to be him. It can be someone else. So if you're listening, Oswald, you don't have to. You don't have to do this, man. You don't have to. Be the Anakin Skywalker of the Richterian dynasty. You were the chosen one. You were the chosen one. You were, So that's kind of what that's at.
Yeah, so I think it's on to the next question now, unless anyone has anything to
Of
add about that.
course. Of course.
Spartan, is it you? It could
I
be
believe that'd
Simon.
be
I
you.
think it's Spartan.
I
Yeah,
think it's Adam.
I believe it.
Yes.
Or yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Adam.
Wait, is I thought I'd just wait, really?
Yeah.
Bro. Yeah, thank God I'm hosting this podcast and not you, Adam. Wow. Loser.
No,
Adam's a
it is,
loser. Wow.
bruh. It's Simon. I just asked about, like, it went on. Oh,
No,
No,
we
you
just
didn't
oh
ask
wait.
that
we just
question.
asked about
Yeah.
Oswald's
What would you say?
betrayal.
What would you
Bro.
say?
Bro.
Oh my god.
Bruh.
See, that's an A. The A stands for
Yeah.
asshole for being retarded. Okay. Carry on,
Wait, does
carry
it?
on.
Um, what would you say to those who are demoralised and think that there is no future to the Richters?
Demoralized like you right now for being retarded. Yeah. I can see
Demoralised,
why. I
like
can see why you're demoralized. No, I get it. I get it. No, oh, demoralization. That's like the key thing right now is how, oh my God, look at all these people that were loyal. They're gone. Oh no, Alec is leaving. It's like this whole over exaggeration of nonsense, but people don't realize all the good shit. It's like, okay, yeah, there's all this bad shit, but all the good shit. I mean, you have Richard coming in. Richard's a cool guy. You got like Octavia launching pretty soon. That's going to be pretty cool with a new map and everything. I mean, there's all this good shit happening, and I'm saying time and time again that eventually there will be good shit going on. What people have to do is simple. They have to maintain their faith and remember that we've gone through this before. Okay, this isn't the first crisis or whatever you want to call it, if it even is a crisis in history. And I say this time and time again, we've had worse shit happen before. Worse shit has happened before countless times. Okay, and this is not even the worst of it. So people that are crying about this and saying, "Wham wham, oh my God, it's so boring. Why is there nothing active?" It's like, bruh, I literally quit the game before on took a break on two separate occasions, and this shit still lived on. Shit still happened without me that was fun. Okay? Look at Scotland, look at Turan. Yeah, they were both shit shows. They were worse than my groups, but they were still fun. They were still good groups. They were still memorable groups that I've written about and people recall. So this whole drama is just propaganda, man. It's all just propaganda and bullshit that makes no sense. Honestly, I don't know. People want to go off.
I mean,
I don't think it's even
I'd
our people. I think it's just foreigners. I think it's just randoms or new gens that just joined and they're like privates or cadets, and they're like, why is like, they're thinking to themselves like, why did I just swear an oath to a group that's dead? Because they don't know. The people that are saying this shit don't know our history. They haven't read my legacy. They don't know anything about our past. They think that we're just some random sci-fi group that popped up, and we might have been around a long time, but they think that this is like an average thing. Like, no. Um, we're typically active more so than we are inactive. It's just a matter of developers spending their time working on projects and us waiting for them to finish. And even if that doesn't go correctly, um, I'm pretty sure Richard's going to go World War II, and that's the next question. But I'm pretty sure Richard is going to eventually go World War II months after sci-fi. So even if this all goes to shit, um, there are other projects. We haven't even done America. There's America. There's TRI. There's a Polish group,
Soviet
but
Union.
I would not want to see that be done as like a primary. Like, please, Richard, do not ever do Poland as a primary group, or I will kill myself in my sleep because I would die if I heard that. Freaking, oh my God, the next group is Poland. Like, oh my God, they're gonna ride horse into like Panzer IVs and get shredded by MG34 gunfire. Like, give me a break. Don't do Poland. But America, based. TRI, based. Over to Octavia, based. Like, hello, base department. Hello, hello. We got fascist. Nope, not fascist. We got imperialist America. Let's go. We got Francoist Spain. Let's go. So, I mean, these are all great ideas. Prepare for the future. And I mean, even though I'm excited for, I'm not going to be there. I don't know why I'm excited for something I'm not going to be involved in, but that's what they should look forward to. Like, who cares that June and July are going to be a boring era of development? Actually, July is when the map launches, so July is going to be great. August gonna be great. I mean, White Boy Summer, let's go. I mean, all these great things are gonna happen. All this doom and gloom is just propaganda. It's all it's ever been. I mean, I know Kong was like, "Oh, I'm gonna retire because this is all not gonna go anywhere. It's all gonna remain." No offense to Kong if you're watching this, but kind of a stupid statement. Like, it's all going downhill. It's all going downhill, guys. It's gonna fall apart. Like, okay, how? Like, we're rallying 70 people still. We're still rallying 70 people. That's more people than we rallied in freaking like Korea, I think. So, it's kind of stupid. That's what I
Yeah, I
have to
mean,
say to those people. I think they're kind of dumb. They're kind of, they kind of are lacking some skull, kind of thick in the head, and and if they really are new and have no idea about our past or our future, um, okay, fair enough. Okay, if you're a new guy and you have no idea how shit works, okay, maybe they have a slight reason. But demoralization is propaganda, guys. It's nothing but propaganda. If you're demoralized, then you're feeding into the anti-Richterists because there is so much good shit that's going to happen without me, but it's going to happen. It's never about just me, even though I'm the highlight of the day every day. It's about the collective itself. Look forward to that, not to me. I'll be here in spirit. I'll be here in spirit, and while I'm gone, I will make sure on a non-physical basis that the legacy is carried on, because there's no way in hell I want to sit in the Discord and look at I'd be on the beaches, relaxing with my future wife and my 10 children and look at that my group, that Richters group is falling apart. So I definitely won't be around to see that happen. But obviously, I have good faith. I have good faith that it will all go well. It will all go well.
yeah, I mean, the demoralized people are there. They don't even attend the rallies. They're not really part of the group, so
Yeah,
I don't think it's much of a problem.
they're like sleeper agents. They're just there to shit on the group,
Mm,
and that's
yeah.
it. They're probably just some random like Hadrianist that's there because Hadrian has been dead for like the past couple of months. They're just sitting there like, "Oh, I have no other job from Hadrian, and I'm here to spy on the Richters. Let me just go in the chat and post the average black pill. Oh, the Richters are dead, guys. Zero on Richteria. Zero on Richteria, guys. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. We're dead." And then everyone's like, "Oh my god." Or the new gens are they're looking at like, "Oh my," or not the new gens, the new Octavians are like, "Oh my god, this guy just said we're dying. He's not wrong. What are we gonna do?" Ah! Like,
Yeah.
it's it's the same shit. It's psychological warfare, dude. It's always been psychological warfare. It's always been psychological warfare. It's never gonna end. They're always gonna be trying to demoralize us. We're always gonna try demoralizing them. It's always ever been. It's a war of morale. The first group to lose loyalists first loses. That's how it's always been. Look at Nerfer. How did Nerfer lose? He lost all of his followers. Well, not all, but most of them. Look at frickin' Lavo. Look what his followers are doing. Most of them are leaving, going to frickin' Joe. And look at mine. They're all loyal. They're all still happily. They're all vibing, man. We're gonna keep vibing. We're gonna keep on. Well, not me, but everyone else is gonna keep on carrying on the legacy, carrying on the group, and we're gonna live on. We're gonna prevail because we're based. We're red pilled, and they're cringe. Okay, they're cringe. They're blue pilled, and they're retarded. We're gonna prevail. They're not gonna prevail. That's simple. Because we have the energy. We're high energy. We're epic. We're based. We're red pilled. They're not. Okay, we actually have a Lego doctrine. What do they got? They got nothing. They got memes. They got shit posts. That's all they got. Nothing good. Just shit posts and degeneracy. We've got everything to prevail. And if we look forward to that, then we'll keep prevailing. But if we submit to enemy propaganda and we think to ourselves that this is all going down the shitter because some retard post that said so, then but obviously, like I said before, not even the new gens have that mindset anymore. I think all the new gens are a lot more prepared for the future and understand very well. In fact, the new gens have been a lot more loyal these days than a lot of the old gens, clearly. So I've been very impressed by the new generations and what's to come, and I'm really not afraid. I'm just saying because you know these questions, these questions, of course, it's all about the questions. So there's your answer.
Yeah, I mean,
Shit, I'm out of
it's
water.
certainly not me next. I'm 99% sure about that.
Right.
So,
So
Yeah, all right. So is returning to World War II set at stone in the moment, or is it more of a plan B if sci-fi fails type thing?
Richard said that he will move towards Octavia no matter what, but he will remain. So when I retire, he will still do Sci-Fi Octavia, but it will just be a matter of like I don't know if he wants to wait until the game dies, but I mean he's agreed that I've spent like 30,000 on developers in the past couple of months, and so it'd be kind of a dick move the minute I retire and to say, okay guys, even though we spent 4 months and like 30,000 Robux and 80,000 on ads, we're gonna just put all this in storage and move on. Like I think if he did that, it would really be not that respectful, and it'd be irrational, honestly. Like who would do that? It'd be really irrational to do that anyway. So it won't be immediate that we will do what we're or that. I gotta get used to saying you guys, not me. I'm out of the picture. You guys will do World War II. I will be vibing in my life with what I got going on. But so he will do World War II maybe like a month after I leave, maybe 2 months after. I mean, whatever the time scale is, he will do that, and then he will do World War II for like a while. He's got like all these maps planned out. He's like, we're gonna do this map first, then this map, then we're gonna make this, and that. Like he's got colonization of Brazil prepared. He's got like all these imperial colonies ready. Like he's got all these plans set out for World War II, and it looks great. And then after he gets bored of that, he said he's gonna do America. He's gonna run America, and he's gonna make "Hail Christ" our anthem, and that's gonna be the most base thing ever. Like I'm not gonna be around to see it, but I'll probably ask him to show me like a video or two, or maybe I'll come hang out for like an hour and ask people like how it's going, and then leave. Of course, I'm not gonna stick around, obviously, but um, it sound. I mean, I make it sound like that I want to stay. In truthfulness, I don't. In truthfulness, I mean, I don't even know if I wish I could stay if I had the option. If I could have a ability to do so without any of the problems I listed, I really don't know. I really want to do what I want to do in real life, so to speak. So I think I'm more
Yeah,
excited for you guys. I don't think it's a matter of me, 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 me. I think the excitement that I have that I'm expressing is more about what you guys are going to go through. I'm excited for what you guys are going to go through and what you're going to experience because this has always been about the collective. It's not always, I mean, I'm highlighted by the doctrine saying it's being loyal to me, but you're loyal to me so that this collective can strive on. That's why you guys are loyal to me. So obviously, at the end of the day, it's about you guys, not me, you guys. And so I'm more so happy about what you guys are going to go through and experience in the times that I am gone because I built all this up for you guys, not for me. It was always about the people because no leader, mark my words, there will be no leader on the platform, even in real life, that will express the same care except for maybe a select few people. It's rare to find a leader that does care and does represent the interests of the common people these days. It's mostly the same elite that care about money, they care about the power, and they care about whatever benefits themselves. Opportunists. The exact enemy that we've always been against since day one. So that's the plan for World War II.
All right. Next question is by Spartan.
So, many people have heard about your book, Alexander's Legends, and it looks like some people would like some hints about it and what may be in the book.
Well, um, you're talking about 260,000 words so far. So, with that many words in mind, I mean, I don't know if I can go into exact detail, but what I can say is that it will be about my history over the past 6 years of this game. So since, well, it doesn't say 2015, but the prologue is basically late 2015. So it goes from 2015 all the way down to Revelation. Revelation meaning the future. So it will go in and tell the whole legacy of my past. It will go into everything. Every group, every detail, every encounter, every court trial, event, rally, speech, video, excuse me, everything that we've done will be mentioned in that legacy. It will go into details that have never been talked about before. it will really be, in the words of Wilhelm Richterian, a masterpiece and a great work of art that goes into about many things that people have never known but yet heard about. I mean, everyone knows the story of German forces, the story of how I rose up the ranks, I became a field marshal, and I led the German army to victory. And then the corrupt bourgeoisie elite people came into power and then replaced me for being loyal. And then demoted me again and again. So the people rebelled and we formed our own group called Deutsche 1940s. But that entire expansion of time took an entire year. That wasn't in the span of 2 months. That was an entire year worth of events. So in reality, that's over 100 pages worth, over 50,000 words worth of details that goes into intricate detail. And so now you ask, so what's the point of all these details? And I talked to Smash and he said, well, if you include every detail, how would that maintain interest? And I'm like, well, first of all, I mean, people literally spend their time listening to 2-hour podcasts and ask me to make more podcasts after listening to those. So I think it's hard to get bored of me for whatever reason. I mean, I guess I rewatch my videos all the time. I mean, I love rewatching my own content for whatever reason, but there are people out there that really go, dare I say this, they are autistically obsessed with me and my content and my life. Even my enemies are so obsessed with my life and my content and my ideals and books and everything that I don't think it'd be a bad thing. I don't think it would be a con to include all these details about, like, the most boringest chapter in the book. Not chapter. Uh, I think arguably the most boring part is the part. Well, I mean, I can't judge for everyone. I don't really know the most boringest part, but there are some parts where I just go ranting on for paragraphs and paragraphs about these problems and how I can't fix them, but yet I have to. And it's just like a lot of the book is me talking about, it's not just me recording the time and talking about the time, but telling people how I felt, what I was thinking, why I felt that way, why I couldn't do it this way, why I could have done it that way but didn't do it that way. It's like this intricate detail. The reason why I did that, though, was for understanding. The one thing I've lacked in my time here from the majority of loyalists is the understanding of this cause. People know they have to be loyal. People understand it's about being loyal and maintaining the cause. Why? For victory. How does loyalty produce victory? Because people are loyal. By being loyal, the group never collapses because the group requires activity, so on and so forth. That is all common sense. It's all known. But there is a more deeper meaning than that to this cause that can only be understood by looking at it through my lens. And the only way to look at it from my point of view is by going from day one to now, to even beyond now, to understand completely what it is all about. It is the only way anyone can understand this cause and can fully register themselves a Richterist, fully identify themselves as a part of my cause, or rather this cause, by reading that book. Because then they fully understand me, they fully understand my problems, they fully understand my struggles I went through, and then most importantly, they understand why it is important that they continue that legacy throughout time and time again. Why it is important that they maintain it for years and years and years following my leave. I feel like that anyone that reads that book entirely without skipping any pages, without scrolling through it, without trying to, doze off, by fully engaging in the book and reading it, they will fully understand what it means, and they will acquire the same knowledge, enthusiasm, and dedication that I have. I can guarantee anyone that watches this podcast that if they read the full book, that they will definitely have potential, not just as a loyalist, but as a potential general, commander, leader. Anything that you want to do, I can guarantee you that that book will probably inspire you to do it. Because not only is it about the cause, but it is about willpower. It is about my struggle and what it's all led to, what has all become of it, how I've stood against the test of time, against the will of the world, and had outdone myself throughout everything. That's what it's gonna be about. And it's still being written. It should be done pretty soon. Sometime this week it will be done. So currently I just finished the trial of Vining in Polish, so that should give you some input on how closely I'm finishing it up, because after the trial, things were really slow, but in a way they were also really fast, because since nothing really happened, I guess it will make it go by quicker. So the only thing I'll be talking about in the book is just really about my thoughts and boring development phases and whatnot. That's all I have left to talk about in the book before I talk about the Revelation. Revelation is going to just be about prophecies and what's going to happen in the future after my leave. I'll probably have like hundreds of predictions, and we'll see if they're true or not. Well, you'll see if they're true or not. I won't know. I won't know, but everyone else will see if they're true or not. And if they are, then it could be a useful guide. That might. The same person is now knocking on my door again. What is going on, man? What the frick is... Are the feds after me? Are the feds after me? Have they finally found me? Are they now criminalizing me? What is going on? What the frick? Okay, anyways, moving on. Yeah, that's all I have about the book.
Sounds
Will
good.
that?
So let's wrap this
Or
up,
can
I
I add
guess.
something? I guess.
Oh yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah, you could add
I
something.
was just curious, like, what exact date will the book? Will you like add stuff to the book the day you publish it, so it goes to the very end, or will it end up around this time? When will it truly like
Yeah,
just
it'll
finish
be
off?
released this week in regards to editing and whatnot. Um, I've got Smash Dude currently conducting a like review of it, so he's going
Oh
through
yeah,
all of
proofreader.
it. Well, not a review. He's currently editing, not editing. I didn't give him permission because I'm paranoid that someone's gonna like delete like the entire thing, and I'm gonna like I'm gonna literally kill myself if that happens. I gave him comment permissions, and currently he's going through. He's on like page 100, 200 right now, which is kind of a slow rate, and he's just editing and grammar corrections and like taking out useless sentences and whatnot. And then I also dispatched like 8 people to review a trial version of the Legacy. So I didn't release it to them fully. I like grabbed like 100 pages out of the book, pasted it in another document, and then gave it to them and said, review this and tell me what you think of it. And they're doing that right now, and they're going to have reviews. And those reviews of the book are going to be put at the top so everyone can see what other people thought of the book, so it can, like, I don't know, inspire them or encourage them to read it. So that way they know what they're getting into. Because obviously, my point's going to be biased. I'm going to say, oh, it's my entire legacy. It's interesting. It's going to be fun. Because it's of my own taste. Anything that I produce is of my own taste. And from my lens, my tastes are the best tastes. So the reviews will give different perspectives on what they think of it for those who don't know if they want to make the journey of reading hundreds of thousands of words and pages that I've, came up with. I mean, there's literally more. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this legacy. So, oh, that's all.
Is that the end? I think that
Oh, we have
Spartan
one
has a
more.
couple more questions. Oh yeah, one more
Yeah.
question.
So the last and final question that we have left is: after all the map and the ads are ready, do you think that Octavia would have the potential to become the next supergroup?
Yeah, well, it definitely has the potential to do so. The issue is development. Again, we have all these great ideas, we have all these great scripters. Okay, now all we have to do is make the things that we need done, and bada boom, bada bing. There's our supergroup. There's our group with literally, I mean, shit. If you were a random, I don't know, 12-year-old kid, and you see this advertisement that says, "Oh, crafting, aliens, spaceships, space exploration, military," like all of these things are what makes a front page game on Roblox. Front page games on Roblox are not something that appeal to the war groups. We are one of the only groups that utilizes appeal to our advantage. So there is definitely a potential of becoming a supergroup that is even bigger than Viking Law, because even Viking Law's shitty front page game, not even front page, shitty roleplay border games are boring and stupid. They aren't fun at all. I've joined them. I've played in them. I've spent hundreds of hours raking up in the Soviet Union. It's boring. There's nothing fun that you do there. There's a reason why they call most people there rocks. Because even the people there are about as boring as the freaking game itself. There's nothing you can do there that is fun. So the changing experience to this trend of boring war groups is this game. The scripters could easily finish their work and they could be awarded as being the best developers in the entire war group community if they put their mind to it. We have Pharaoh, we have Ashley, both of whom are scripters. If they really, really wanted to, they could do anything. They could, and Ashley has already completed the settlements, or the crafting thing, whatever. Pharaoh is capable of fixing up the crafting system. It's a matter of their willpower. And until they put forth that effort, it will remain the same as it is today. So it does have potential. Will it become a supergroup? Well, if I'm still around, and if the map is done while I'm still around, then I will launch the 80K, and I am almost positive, I can barely promise you that it will probably be as active as War 2 Octavia was. I can imagine hundreds of people in game, thousands of new members, so over 10,000 members in the group at that point, and this would be maintained over the course of a few months. And then after that dies out, which hopefully remains a while, hopefully this can like encourage her to stay sci-fi longer than he intended. Maybe it won't. I have no idea, but maybe it will. We can only find out as a matter of time. Hopefully that will be the course it takes, and following that course I will retire, or I'll retire before that. Whenever time I have, I will see if I have time to remain for that, but I probably won't. And yeah, so we will see if that does become a super group. And in the case that it doesn't, I mean, there's still War 2 Octavia. There's still other groups and genres we haven't done yet that can expand the following and legacy. We're not limited to this at all. Keep that in mind. We're not limited by any measures at all. So, yeah.
Sounds good. Looks like that's all the questions we had for you.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can see that once more I've carried the epic podcast. Not a big deal, of course, but I mean, I appreciate the questions, though. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate that you guys got the time to do this, to sit here through my monologue, and to listen here. So I mean, I do appreciate, but I think the main, and I mean, I've said this before to you yourself, Spartan. I think one of the only issues with some people is people just don't speak up. They I don't know if it's social anxiety, or they want to say the wrong things, or a fear factor. But you know, it doesn't hurt to say a few things just to get the word out. I do like that you're trying, though. I mean, all of you are great people. I do like the further input. But that's all I really have about this podcast, so to speak. So, yeah.
So, are we just gonna wrap up now? Yeah. Thank you for everyone who's watching. Okay, that just made it like 10 times more awkward. I don't know. I tried to like wrap it up.
I'm gonna
Thank
keep
you
it in
guys.
there.
Thank you for watching.
Yep.
Make sure to
Alright.
hit that like button,
Hit that like
subscribe,
button.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yep.
turn on
Make sure
those
to subscribe.
notifications
The
so you
hate
can
of
get
my
the latest
existence.
podcast episodes.
Make sure to like the game.
Yeah, upvote the game. Yeah, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful weekend. Wonderful week. It's freaking Monday.